I want to go over project 8. Question number 1 says, define a function that swaps two numbers using pointers. We have a function swap, which takes integer x and integer y, which both of them are pointers. Call this function on swap two numbers. So if integer x is 1 and y is 2, when I call swap ampersand x ampersand y, it has to swap two numbers. I can define a function named swap that takes two pointers. Both of them are type of integer. This is a pointer, which we name it x. This is a pointer y. Both of them are pointer to integers. I create a variable temp. I initialize it with content of what pointer x is pointing to. So star x means what pointer x is pointing to goes in temp. I put the content of what pointer y is pointing to into what pointer x is pointing to. I put temp inside what pointer y is pointing to. In my main function, I define x and y. I put 1 in x and 2 in y. I can just display x and y. When I want to call this function is taking two pointers. I can see swap ampersand x ampersand y. Ampersand will get the address of variable x. Ampersand y will get the address of variable y. The address of x goes inside this x. The address of y goes inside this y. This function is swapping them. After displaying, x and y are going to get displayed. For question number 2, I'm asking you to dynamically allocate an array of 100 integers. Part A says fill the array using pointer notation. Part B, find maximum numbers in the array using pointer notation. Part C says finds the average and then find minimum numbers in array using pointer notation. So if I want to allocate an array of 100 integers, I can say int star arr equal to new. With new, you can allocate memory. In this example, I'm allocating 100 integers, and pointer arr is pointing to that array. So this means dynamically allocating 100 integers. I go from 0 to 100, I see star arr plus I equal to I plus 1. So with star, we call it indirection operator. You can access different elements in array. In this example, I is starting from 0. Star arr plus I, it means the first element inside the array becomes I plus 1, which is 0 plus 1, which is 1. So with this for loop, I can fill my array with numbers from 0 to 99. I assume the maximum is star arr. Since AR is a pointer, star ARR will give you the content of that pointer. And then I go from 1 to 100. I compare star AR plus I and max. This code means like, I assume the first one is maximum. I go from the second one to the last one. I compare the content of each one with maximum. And then I replace that one with maximum if the content of each one is greater than maximum. So you start from the first one, you assume the first one is maximum, you go from the second one to the end of the array, you keep comparing and then you find the maximum. Here the sum is 0. I go from I equal to 0, I less than 100. Sum plus equals star AR plus I. So this for loop here is adding the content of each element inside the array to the sum. We have an array of 100 integers. This code will add them one by one using pointer notation. If I want to find the average, I can divide the sum by 100, but I could cast it to double to convert it to double. Since it's double, this division will become decimal point division. That will give me the average. For the minimum, I can assume the minimum is the first one. I go from the second one to the last one. I compare each one with the minimum. If it's smaller than minimum, I put the content of that inside the minimum. So let's try this code. If I run this code, if I run this code, you can see that before swapping, I have 1 and 2. And then after swapping, I have 2 and 1. So the maximum is 100, average is 50.5, and then the minimum number is 1. I want you guys to complete this project.